Chris, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. I'm going to make you host, bud. Showtime.
Perfect.
Sorry, judges got delayed a little bit, so just got out of it.
Okay, no worries. And I saw Krish's message too about the judges introducing themselves. So I just won't worry about their names or anything.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't
I
even-
don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to butcher any.
Totally forgot about that. It was some reminder somebody needed. Oh, picture. I took the picture. Damn it. Took the picture. All right. Made you host. Are you host?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll stay on. If you
Okay.
need me, let me know. But I may be doing some other things. Okay.
Yep.
You
No worries.
You got this, bro.
Thank you.
All right, man. That was good.
Okay.
Teamwork.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, just FYI, the key takeaway was that like judges were asking a lot about like criteria and all that. And so G told them that it's basically just rank them absolutely on the form, and then deliberate if there is any comparative after you guys find if there is no, like if all of them are bunched together, then deliberate. That's what the deliberation session is for, relative, but judge them on their own merit, not on their relative merit, like who did better. That is for the subsequent session.
Okay. I think actually Krish is going to be taking over deliberations. That's what he said. But I asked him if, like, perhaps myself and the track support, if we can just be like silent observers, just so that we can learn on how the process work for future hacks.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just showed him that message. Like he'll lead, and if there's any assistance, he would be the person. But we would just fly in the wall.
Okay. All right, man. So you got the roles and responsibilities, timekeeper, da, 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 da.
Yeah. I'll be timekeeper. Sean's going to be clicking through the slides, and then Don will be answering any questions that come up in Slack. And then also I'll give him co-host too, in case some people accidentally unmute themselves, because that's happened before in the past. So we don't want any interruptions.
And they would know like which team is going next and all that. Did you merge all that?
Yeah. We got all of our deck together. No issues on our end.
You were able to merge. Okay. All right. You didn't randomize it while merging, right?
I mean, we just merged down the list.
Pulling your leg, brother.
Yeah.
I'm going in incognito.
Okay. Cool.
Chris, did you see the latest flyer? I don't know what that flyer is for, but I just wanted you to know.
Also, try to change the flyer. Okay, that's good to know. Let's just do that quickly.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure that you guys can see my screen. Perfect.
Okay.
So come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, babe. So come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, babe. Oh, love on the run, love on the run, babe. Oh, anywhere, be there when, yeah. And I'll always sing it like a prayer. Oh, when you touch me there. Oh, you'll always be my ritual. Always love you all through the night. Beat them when the sun is right. Oh, you'll always be my ritual. Always singing it like a prayer. Oh, when you touch me there. Oh, you'll always be my ritual. Always love you all through the night. Beat them when the sun is right. Oh, you'll always be my ritual. You'll always be my ritual.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby.
We the best music. Another one. DJ Khaled.
Celebrate for the ones we lost, yeah. Celebrate with the ones we got, yeah. Middle finger to the ones that's not here. Ain't no love, lost. Celebrate for the ones we lost, yeah. Celebrate with the ones we got, yeah. Middle finger to the ones that's not here. Ain't no love, lost. People tend to lose it. They see you coming up, and you were talking stupid. You wish you bit your tongue. Your blood is burning butane. I know it eats you up, and I just keep it moving. That envy got you stuck. Now we print money and you drive a Jetta. Ever since I got you up, I swear that life is better. We don't know what they believe in, you can say whatever. While we party in the beat that like we
DJ
And
Khaled.
we ain't never losing no sleep over ya. And that's why we gon' dedicate this toast to ya.
Let's go.
Celebrate for the ones we lost, yeah. Celebrate with the ones we got, yeah. Middle finger to the ones that's not here. Ain't no love, lost. Celebrate for the ones we lost, yeah. Celebrate with the ones we got, yeah. Middle finger to the ones that's not here. Ain't no love, lost. In the Lambo truck is not a panorama. Even though I got the vision and it's panorama. I grew my favorite tea, I basically made it out of Atlanta. When the closest thing to tropic was the Tropicana. Yeah, yelling for the guys, born for the guys. To my dog, 50 on the other side.
Hey guys.
Pop me one, pop me two, pop me three.
Just gonna be a couple more minutes before we start. Sorry about that. Just waiting for a few more people to trickle in, and then we'll get started.
Ones that's not here. Ain't no love, lost. Celebrate for the ones we lost, yeah. Celebrate with the ones we got, yeah. Middle finger to the ones that's not here. Ain't no love, lost. Ain't no love, lost. Ain't no love, lost. I'm a bad man, just with good things. I'm a world class, let the hood see. I've been with it. I've been choosy with a big bag, moving loosely. I've been with it.
Let's go.
Celebrate for the ones we lost, yeah. Celebrate with the ones we got, yeah. Middle finger to the ones that's not here. Ain't no love, lost. Celebrate for the ones we lost, yeah. Celebrate with the ones we got, yeah. Middle finger to the ones that's not here. Ain't no love, lost.
As we continue to celebrate life,
Ain't no love, lost.
it's always love. We the best music.
Ain't no love, baby. Bebecita, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué son tus ganas de pelear? Ya que me empiezo a enamorar y tú ya quieres terminar.
Mais comment ça, le monde est hyper. Tu croyais quoi, qu'on serait plus jamais. Je pourrais t'afficher, mais c'est pas mon délire. D'après les rumeurs, tu m'as eu dans ton lit.
Oh, ya, ya. Tú solita te matas, pensando que tengo gatas de más y que me la paso de fiesta.
Oh, dja dja, y'a pas moyen, dja dja. J'suis pas ta cata, dja dja. Genre, en katana, baby, tu dettes ça.
Oh, ya, ya. Bájale, bebé, esto no lleva nada. Esto de pelear no me gusta nada. Si quieres, mándame location pa' la mierda. Y si me pierdo, pues la ruta tú me la das. Si te quiero y es de cora, soy sincero y no lo ves. Gana el que no se enamora. Y yo aquí perdí otra vez. Sin irte yo ya te olvidé.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Just confirming that all judges are present.
Yep,
Yes,
sounds
I'm
like
here.
Perfect. Okay, let's get started. Sean, could you share your screen? There we go. Perfect. Well, first off, thank you everyone for coming today. I know a lot of you put a lot of hard work in over the past few days. And yeah, we're really looking forward to the presentations ahead of us today. Next. So first off, we would like to thank all of our wonderful sponsors here. I know many of them sent mentors too. Some of them are also judges on this very panel today. So we really want to thank them all for their time, support, and for helping out on this event, and hopefully in future events as well. So today, the final presentations will be on AI and the future of systems. Next. So for the 3 prompts for this track, we consider supply chain and operations. So that focusing on supply chain, but also staffing models in hospitals. So really seeing how AI can be integrated into these systems in the future and mitigating some of those errors that we're seeing. Disaster preparedness. We've seen a lot of issues come up with COVID-19 and how there's been uncoordinated response amongst the public sector, private sector, and just across the world. And finally, business and governance. We're seeing a lot of issues around the world as increased adoption of virtual care technologies and other digital technologies, right? So we want to find ways in order to increase adoption by increasing consumers' confidence in that they're in cybersecurity and data privacy. Now, I'd like to introduce to you some of our judges from today. They're highly qualified professionals in their space, and they've generously given their time today to judge some of the great participants that have taken the time over the weekend to bring up some excellent ideas for the future of systems. I'd now like to invite them to give a little talk and introduce themselves.
So I guess I'll go first since I'm first on the list. Rajan Lukos, Chief Scientist and CTO of Cambridge Technology, work in various areas of AI, machine learning, big data, I guess you can call it. And so I'm looking forward to hearing the exciting ideas that you guys have, and hopefully give you some constructive feedback and learn about the problems that you'll need to overcome in order to make your ideas reality.
Mm-hmm. Great, I'll go next. I'm Khan Siddiqui. I'm the Chief Medical Officer and Chief Strategy Officer at Hyperfine. I'm also a serial entrepreneur as a clinician, over 25, 30 years working in machine learning, AI aspect of it, IoT, data security, privacy. So just bringing a lot of different perspectives here have done participated in hackathons and judged hundreds of hackathons in the past too. So looking forward to hearing amazing pitches coming in, and exciting to see these things actually become real projects.
Hi, everyone. This is Zafer Shahinoglu, and I'm the general manager of Malik Ventures, which is an investment and innovation arm of Mitsubishi Electric based out of San Jose. We invest in startups and also incubate startups. And COVID-19 and healthcare related solutions are our high priority areas of interest. And looking forward to all the new interesting business ideas that we are going to hear today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca Obunu, and I manage the social innovation programming at the Priscilla King Gray Public Service Center at MIT. And I manage the Idea Social Innovation Challenge, MIT's 20-year-old social innovation program for students. So any MIT student-led team can propose a solution and potentially have the opportunity to receive up to $20,000 in funding and mentorship, et cetera. So if there are any MIT students here today that want to pursue this, we are welcome to recruit a team from anywhere in the world, and we'd love to have you in our program. So I'm really pleased to be here today.
Thank you, judges. I hope you enjoy the presentation going forward. So just a brief review of the hackathon process. On Friday, you were pitching your ideas, you were mixing and mingling, finding out which team and idea would suit you the best, jumping around. I know it was a hectic process up until the Saturday morning deadline, but I'm happy to see so many of you have kept on going through the weekend and made it today. On Saturday, right, you started your hacking, you got feedback from mentors, and you iterated, right? We did that Saturday night at our practice pitches, and then also this morning at our practice pitch. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what changes you guys have made over the past few days and on your final presentation. So I'll just go really briefly through the following judging criteria. So first one is impact, right? So it's a proposed solution. Is it timely? Does it address some of the problems caused by COVID-19? Is there potential for widespread and substantive change, right? And we're also really looking forward for inclusiveness and diversity, right? The solution needs to represent a lot of diverse views across gender lines, ethnicity, age, equality, right? We really want to make sure it's an all-inclusive solution. We're also looking for innovation, right? We're looking for novel ideas that don't exist. We want to see like a really convincing rationale, right? Convince the judges for why this solution will work. And most importantly, fair and ethical use of data, which is a common thing that has come up with AI. Next is implementation, right? You need to have a plan in place to be able to take this idea to reality. It's very easy to come up with ideas and plans, but you really need to figure out how you're going to bring and change that idea from what you've come up with today and bring it to life tomorrow or the next week. And finally, the presentation, right? How effective is your presentation that engages us, the audience, and the judges, right? Are you good at storytelling? How is the solution business viable, right? Customer desirable and technically feasible. So just a brief summary of how we're going to be doing the presentations. So first off, I'd like to say that all these presentations will be recorded and will be posted later for you to review them. Multiple team members can present and answer a Q&A. All order of presentations is random. Before you present, there will be a introductory slide and you'll see who the next team up is. So you'll just be ready for that. One of the big things is time limit. So I will be controlling time. We'll be very strict on the 3-minute time limit. I just want to make sure you can see my screen. A yellow here, this is 2 minutes in, and a red and a verbal indication from me is a firm cutoff for you. So once your team is up to bat, if you will be presenting, please raise your hand so that we know who is presenting from your team. And then every time that you will be switching slides, since we will be controlling it, just say next, and we'll go to the next slide. In terms of winners, there will be 3 winners per track. Oh, sorry, can you see this? Yellow?
No, it's not showing up
It's not showing up?
because of your background thing.
Oh, okay, here. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take off my background. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Yellow
Yep.
and red. Okay, perfect. So if there's any questions or any concerns, please put it in the chat. We do ask everyone though, unless you are presenting, to please have your videos off and please stay muted to preserve some bandwidth and everything for the presenting team.
Oh, I
Okay.
think we had someone raise her hand. No, not yet. Let's keep going.
All good?
Mhm.
Okay, well, let's get started. Sean?
Yep. So first up is team from channel 100, Speed to Lead. And after that, coming up will be this tweet.
Do we have,
Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
Okay, so my idea is about making a new system in the hospital using AI. This actually will help the hospital be less crowded, especially in these days, COVID-19 and stuff. So the virus will spread more faster. Okay, and my idea is improving the hospital and ambulances system by adding an AI system that calculates the numbers of rooms and supplies are being used in each hospital to help the patients get the medical care they need in the right time. Most of the patients, they die before they go to the hospital, and I know a lot of people that thing happened to them. Okay, and all of the hospitals and ambulances in the city would be connected together by the same system, and every hospital system is going to tell whether the hospital is full or not. And if it's full, the door of the hospital will not open for the patients. Instead of that, it will tell the team where is the nearest available hospital. The ambulance's car will get a device that tells them the direction of the nearest available hospital. For example, the patient needs an eye doctor, so the device will tell them where the nearest hospital that has available place for eye patient. Okay, so the problems we're solving are unorganized hospitals. Ambulance arrives late, and in a full hospital, no one can help the patients. Tons of people die every year because of delaying in the hospitals. Having hard time finding a hospital that has an empty room or a place for you. So that would waste your time in the waiting room. And not knowing that hospital doesn't have enough room or supplies, which will make people wait for too long. The benefits of this idea are, this idea will help people to get more medical care they deserve in a short time. This idea can save lives, especially emergency conditions, because the ambulance already knows where to go. It will help saving people's time by not letting them wait for too long. The hospital will be clean all the time and will not be crowded anymore. Also, this will help the hospital be safer. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Judges, any questions?
I have a question. This is Zafer. Thank you. Good presentation. And is it a predictive system or it's just a reporting system based on current room conditions?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. The system you're envisioning, is it a predictive system? It will predict the number of available rooms in a certain time horizon, or it is just reporting how many rooms are available at a given time?
No, it will calculate the rooms all the time. So if someone left, there will be an extra room, so someone can enter.
Okay, will it also predict how many rooms will be available, like in 3 hours?
Yeah, you can add that, but it wasn't my idea. But yeah, you can add it.
Okay.
I mean,
If
you
it's
can
just if it is based on current occupancy, I don't see where AI will play a role here. How do you plan to use the AI? So where does it sit? Thank you.
It's the thing that will calculate the amount of time and the supplies.
Yeah, so quick question again.
Instead of
So telling from Zafar's point of view, right? Like, what is AI? I'm having a hard time understanding. Like, what will you use to train the model, and what is it exactly predicting? That's what the question. I mean, if you're just looking at real-time data available and projecting that, that's, I don't know where AI comes into that space, please. And can you
Thank you for
clarify
rephrasing,
that?
without AI, that won't be happening, because you need AI to for the ambulance. I mean, in the ambulances cars, they use a device to tell them where it's based on AI, so it will tell them where the nearest hospital that has a place is.
I think what we are struggling with understanding when you say AI, what do you exactly mean? Because AI really is something that it predicts something in the future and is trained based on historical data or something like that, right? So you can create a lot of algorithms that are not AI to predict something or measure something, but AI really reflects something that automatically relies on historic data and predicts future conditions, right? So that's what we are struggling with, figuring out what is the AI component in this space that you're talking about.
To add on to Hans, I think this is an operations optimization problem. It's not necessarily an AI-based modeling.
Correct. That's what I understand too. Yes, thanks.
Yeah.
I had a question about, it seems like one on the implementation of this, it seems like you have to get a lot of different organizations and pieces working together in order to get these systems going. Have you given any thought to the challenges around that? You have to get different hospital systems, you know, every ambulance. There's a lot of coordination that has to happen. So I'm wondering about the implementation challenges that you see there.
I think it's going to be a little challenging in the beginning, but then it will be fine, because all of the hospitals will be connected to each other already in the future, not in the beginning. It's going to be hard for people to understand that, but then it's going to be fine and normal for people.
I have a question, Sandos, about the team. Can you tell us a little bit more about your teammates and the backgrounds?
Okay, we were more than two in the team, but the rest of our team, they quit. So only me and Fardin are left in the team.
Okay, thank you. Can you tell me a little bit about your maybe area of expertise, you and your other teammate?
I don't know much about my teammates, but I had courses in artificial intelligence. I had 3 courses about artificial intelligence. But I'm still a student. I'm 15 years old and high school student. I'm gonna be graduating next year.
Wonderful. I commend you for this undertaking.
Thank you.
That's great. Yeah,
wonderful.
Wonderful effort here.
Great presentation. Thank you, judges. If you could just submit your scoring for this. I'll give you a few seconds.
Sorry, could you, I just want to make sure I have the right team name for this one.
Of
Yeah,
course.
it's
Mhm.
Sean, can you just go back? Like, thanks.
I mean, the code, I guess. So is this
Cipher.
team C20 020?
This is
C100.
C100.
Oh, C100, my bad. Okay, yeah.
Judges, if you have any issues filling in the scores, please let us know.
Looks good.
Has everyone submitted? I'm just checking here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I've just submitted, yeah.
Chris, are you asked me a question, and I don't know, do you see my submission? I submitted it. Did it not show up?
I'm just checking now. Con, I have one submission only.
Yeah, I've only done one.
Okay. Or no, I mean one submission in total from the 4 judges.
I've just
I-
submitted mine. Okay.
I just submitted mine as well.
Can you tell who is not submitted? Because I already submitted.
I think we're all
Awesome.
good. Thank you. We checked. Thank you. Let's move, Chris.
Okay.
Perfect. Now, next up is Team C20, this tweet. And after C20, it will be C19, Nexus. So whenever you guys are ready.
Thank you. Next. Next. 6 days. That's how long it took for the first financial aid. That's how long it took for the relief aid to reach Puerto Rico after the Hurricane Maria made landfall and claimed 3,000 lives. Next, among those was Ramona, who died after a month later because she couldn't get her hands on the medical resources she needed. What if we tell you that she reached out through social media, but no one heard her? Next, this is simply unacceptable. Next, Ramona's story is not unique. It's part of 30 million related tweets from 160 million people who are affected by natural disaster every single year. Next, we have a solution. Meet this tweet, disaster relief when you need it. Next.
With interconnecting user tweets, we can connect directly with relief support organizations so they can provide help where it is needed. Our solution looks to enable these 3 groups of users. We will form different partnerships with NPOs and government agencies because they have a great amount of experience in terms of reaching out to different locations and have a large outreach of people. Next. Our solution is powered by machine learning algorithms that pick up keywords, tweet locations, and hashtags to bring attention to those who need it most. Here, word vectors computationally extract the meaning from words in tweets by mapping words to vectors. Using word embedding to train the model, this tweet can classify tweets into categories like food, water, shelter, and medical equipment. These extractions can then be used to locate regions that require such resources, and NPOs can then use those to coordinate and provide resources to vulnerable populations in a much lower time. Next. This is what the user interface would look like on the end of the organizations, agencies, and local communities. It is a simple app which sends alerts about possible reports. Next. Here is an example of how the AI would detect whether a message is related to disaster relief or not, and then classify to different categories. A trained model with more data can further improve the accuracy of results and reduce bias. Next. For our target audience, we aim to reach out to disaster-prone areas and help the vulnerable population. For a cost structure, we need funds for deploying the machine learning model as a web mobile application and updating it regularly. The advantage we possess over our competitors is we classify tweets according to the end user's need, both faster and cheaper. We aim to connect directly with NPOs working for disaster relief, such as Oxfam India and Crisis Relief, and we will be charging the minimal subscription fees for each of those organizations. Next. Next, additional steps we need to take is to create a prototype, partner with NPOs, raise funds, improve the AI model, and expand to other social media platforms. Next. Now, what we would like to ask of you is to connect and collaborate with us in order to turn the system into reality and save real human lives. With our system, Ramona could have quickly and effectively obtained the resources she needed and actually been alive today. This shows the true power of this tweet in real world applications. Next. These are amazing team members, all of whom help play major roles.
Sorry guys, that's time.
Okay.
Thank you. Great presentation, though. Judges?
I'll go first again. So are you proposing that you will exploit the existing Twitter platform, or you will create a messaging portal just for this particular service?
So our idea is to use Twitter and like use an AI to use to see tweets and detect when like a high density location needs relief packages from nonprofit organizations. So yeah, we're going to use like the current basis of Twitter.
Are you thinking about using some kind of?
Why not create a dedicated new portal for this disaster management purposes instead of filtering existing tweets?
We could do that for sure, but we thought it'd be a lot easier, especially at like the start, to build off of an already existing popular platform rather than try to like build our own and build off of that from zero. So that was just like our thinking behind that.
I have a question. Are you thinking about just analyzing all the tweets coming in, or particular hashtags? I mean, or how are you going to filter it out initially? Otherwise, there'll be a lot of noise coming in that may not be related to the disaster.
Yeah, so we did think of that issue, and our goal is to like fix that through also using like location-based tracking. So instead of just having like a tweet from one location that says, oh, I'm stuck in the middle of somewhere, I need like help, we would look for multiple tweets coming in from like certain areas so that we know it's legitimate, and then we can send off relief packages when there's like plenty of tweets instead of just like one randomized tweet.
And
And
what
just
infrastructure
adding
do you
on,
need? Sorry, go ahead, Rima.
sorry, I just wanted on add to what Harsh said. So this July, Twitter they released a feature of their own wherein they actually highlight the whatever disasters are taking place. So what we were thinking is that we could use that data as well to actually see where the disasters have actually taken place, and then so that we actually target the people who are actually in need, and we are able to filter out the relevant tweets.
Yeah. Do you anticipate? I mean, it seems like various disasters may have different, words that are relevant to them. Something in Kerala versus Puerto Rico or something like that. So, are you thinking of perhaps being able to online, train the algorithm and adjust it based on feedback that are relevant for, or maybe annotations from your staff of which words are most relevant for a particular thing?
Yeah, for sure. So my idea was to maybe have like give each like term like a weighting. So if we had like, for example, like the words like flood, tornado, hurricane, those would be a lot more valuable than like suppose someone just says like medical or like help or something like that. So we would have to like organize each keyword depending based on like how direct it is to like an issue compared to just maybe it could just be like a general statement.
So I have a question about one related to what Rajan said, and then another question. So one about language. And a lot of disaster-prone places aren't necessarily English-speaking. So certain words, even if it is in the same language, there are different meaning to certain words. Have you all thought of that? And finally, where are you thinking about prioritizing a pilot?
So yes, that is actually a great point to bring up with like different languages. So the way we would probably have to handle that is going to like looking at which location like the app is running. And then based on that, we'd have to train the machine learning model like separately for like each location based on how they speak their language. And to answer your question of where we're planning to launch, we were thinking of probably doing it in high density populations where it's like, or like more likely like locations where like these natural disasters occur often, and also in like vulnerable locations where it's like harder for the population to have access to these resources. So we could like help them like right away with any issues they have.
Guys, judges, if you could fill in the score sheet, please.
Thanks.
Okay. Next team up.
Next team up, C19, Nexus. And after that will be C17. So whenever you guys are ready.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Can we start?
Yep, whenever you're ready.
Okay. So, greetings everyone. Hope you are doing great. This is Team Nexus. Next slide, please. If you are in the retail world, chances are you are tired today. You are tired because you laid awake in bed last night, thinking about what is and is not selling, what's going too little or too much in the stock, or why is it so hard to keep stock in sync. So here we are with the solution to these problems. Next, what is the main problem? The problem is the low warehouse efficiency and inventory management because this led to a loss of $2.75 trillion in the US itself in the flow of supply chain spoilage and overselling. We don't have an actual information problem. Rather, we have way more data that we can process. Next, let's understand the basics behind the base of our solution, and that is data. Data really never did anything to anybody. It's what you do with that data. Next, the solution that we came up with is inventory analysis and management using data science, making a prediction of future orders and keeping track of in stock and out of stock items with the help of radio frequency identification RFIDs. Next, it takes your mountains of data and sorts it all out for you. So you can focus on the exception and make real time decisions because now you know what items are selling and where you need more stock and how the store is ranked. Here how it works. First, each retailer scanned data via RFIDs is automatically entered into the database and is validated, processed before being inserted into your own data warehouse. Then our users can log in securely via the web and view awesome dashboard and reports and instantly see opportunities to drive higher sales by replenishing the most important items. Next, let's now look at some awesome features of Nexus dashboard, and then we will show you the zoomed in image of analysis and data you get on the dashboard. Next, we get threshold alert for overcoming out of stock situation in future, new versus old customer behavior, bounce rate for top selling products. Next, average scale for overall ranking, conversion rate, and sales analysis for overall performances. Next, on this slide, we can see the zoomed in layout of the dashboard. We can see it all over here. Next, here we can see the competitors and factors that make us in from already existing ideas, and they are automated notification system, customer behavior, threshold limit information, and the budget of a product is $300 subscription on annual basis. Tracks which are missed by our competitors are where we run. Next, we thank MIT for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Great
Thank you. I have
presentation,
a
guys.
question. I guess I'm wondering what kind of supplies? Is it medical supplies? Are you talking vaccines? I don't know whether I missed that.
It's about the industrial companies and all of those companies and all the industries that are connected to warehouse systems. Like we can count on it, like e-commerce and all the companies that are into the industry. Like it's not just specified to one because warehouse and supply chain is somewhat same in all the industries. So that's what we would be providing these services to them.
Okay, I'm struggling to find the link to COVID-19 hack for the future. It seems a little bit broad.
Okay. I would like to draw the attention towards because of pandemic, lots and lots of stocks were not easily managed. So if we implement this idea into the COVID hack for the future, as a theme here is, it would replenish the management because it would manage all the datas and it will also decrease the number of errors and wastage of all the stocks. And for further, I would like my friend Ravi to continue.
Here it can be used for medical purposes as well. There is no discrimination on the basis of that, but the COVID-19 situation has merely knocked out every jobs and opportunity that were present, and this will bring up more ideas and concentrated in the further fields. It will also increase the delivery system of the vaccine at its AI driven, and will manage the stock for that also.
Judges, we have time for one more question if you have it.
What do you see as the biggest technical challenge to implement it?
As for the biggest technical challenge that we will be facing will be a data-driven thing. We will have a lot of data to analyze on the smart board system side, but on the user end, if we talk about the COVID-19 challenge, it's a very short output of time and not much of a data are present to be analyzed. So this will be the technical aspect that will be we majorly will be faced.
Okay.
Thanks, team. Judges?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
While the judges fill the forms out, if team C17 could get ready.
Chris, I'm ready to go when you give me the cue.
Okay. Okay, let's get started.
Perfect.
You're on mute.
You're on
We can't
mute.
hear you.
Let's start again.
Yes. Do we have the access? Do we really all have the same access? This is not a question we're asking you. Next, this is a question which was asked by Vimla Bai, who was denied a service after traveling from her village 20 kilometers away. Since an ambulance could not reach them, her family members carried her to the hospital. Another important relevant question was asked that day by her son, Kishan Kumar. Why has the country turned its back on the rural? Next. The Indian healthcare system, it was not made to be resilient. 73% of India's population lives in rural India, while we have only 36.3% healthcare workers living in India. We have just one doctor for 10,000 people, and 620 million rural Indians need access to basic healthcare. Next. Our mission is to improve the access to healthcare in rural India via telemedicine and utilize the data for future pandemic or emergencies. Next. We wish to do so by making a companion application called as Anmol Sathi application for the healthcare workers, the NGOs, and the ASHA care workers to identify the severity of diseases and based on those severities, give suggestions on the treatment by recording patients' vitals. We wish to use the data with the use of AI to make quicker decisions and prepare the government better for future pandemic situations. And this data would also help the doctors next to access the medical history and make quicker and efficient decisions. Our aim is to make healthcare accessible to each and every individual in the rural areas. The people can get recommendations and decisions on the steps to be taken next. The doctors can view medical records and make better decisions. And we wish to make this system private. On our competitive analysis, the reason why we stand out of all our competitors is because our system gels very well into the very basic, very fabric of the rural communities, but with corporations, with NGOs and ASHA workers. Next. Our customer segments are patients in rural India without access to doctors and doctors in large hospitals. We wish to partner with, initially, we wish to partner with public-private partnerships and insurance companies. And later, we wish to commercialize the same model for the urban people to generate some revenue. The revenue we generate would be used for the betterment of the rural people and help them. Our aim and our value proposition is to engage NGOs and rural communities to earn the trust and provide accessibility to each and every individual out there. Next. We are a team of designers, health technicians, and technology people who wish to solve this problem and allow access, the same access to everybody and people like Rinku Devi. Next. We're people from Peru, UK, and India, and we would like to thank you, gracias, and dhanyavad from all of us. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Judges?
Sorry, my ignorance. What is an ASHA worker?
Yes, ASHA workers are employees, are appointed by the government. These are like low-wage women who have a basic education but not a formal education in medical.
So like a community health worker kind of person,
yes,
right?
they're like a community health workers appointed by the government. But yeah.
What do you think is your biggest resistance or difficulty in implementing this? What is your biggest challenge?
One of the biggest challenges is that we wish to take it directly to the very rural population. How would they adopt to it is something that we have discussed a lot. And that's why we do not want to give them this platform. And rather, we want to give this platform to these people and engage the community through the help of these volunteers. Right. So this is, I think, one of the bigger challenges, and we have to look at things from a system level perspective. There are a lot of stakeholders that if we can look at the business model canvas, we have a lot of stakeholders that would be there in this kind of a system, and it would be not a very immediate plan. It would be a plan for 1 to 2 years, and that's how it would scale up to other communities and other villages as well. So yeah. That I see as one of the challenges.
Harsh, it would be really useful to get a sense of like the workflow of a patient that, you know, works with the community health worker, and then if they have if they don't have a smartphone but perhaps a basic phone, how do they get their data? Are there rates, fees that they incur? And I also wonder about whether there's an offline, online component to this. I'll stop there.
Yes. One of the biggest problems that we have here in India, especially in terms of the healthcare system, is that we have a centralized healthcare system. So everybody from smaller villages have to go to the city even to get the very basic healthcare facilities. With the help of this intervention, what it would do is that with the help of these volunteers and these community healthcare workers, the people, if they do not have their own mobile, we can give access to these mobile phones to a few people in the community and help them record the patients of the data of the patients and take in the data of the patients. This would be, in order to keep the data private, it would always be linked with the basic thing called as an Aadhaar card. And we have people in India, at least one person in the family would have a cell phone, a basic cell phone, which can get an SMS. So it would be done through an OTP system as well, right? So the Aadhaar card would be, so Aadhaar card is a unique ID, social security ID that is being given to the people. And that's how we wish to keep it private as well. And we can talk about the backend also. Yeah. So
thanks, Harsh and team.
There are many online medical consultation platforms, but your unique value proposition is to increase accessibility.
Yes. All those online platforms demand the end user to have a smartphone with them. But our idea does not require them, everybody to have a smartphone with them. We will start. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. Judges, I'll give you some time to fill in the form.
Yep. In the meanwhile, if team 16 UniID could get ready.
Okay, let's get started.
Any
Guys?
speakers from C16?
Hello.
Hi, yeah, you can start presenting now.
Okay, fantastic. This is UniID team. Next. The finance industry, as you may, is reported to be 300 times as likely as others to be targeted by cyber attacks. The COVID-19 pandemic is to be blamed for the whopping 238% rise in this number, because banks are where people's hard-earned money is kept and the backbone of the economy. To enforce the trust in the system, solving this problem is imperative. Doing that would greatly assist humankind in the fully digitalized future. Next. Well, we came up with the solution to provide banks with a service that makes self-sovereign identification for their users possible using the pain point called identity verification. So banks are our customers, but the end users are their clients. Let me explain. Customers of the banks who subscribe to our service would go through the first stage of verification, where they provide their biometrics and any additional information required by the banks. We then use blockchain to store their identity, which would be hashed, and their information will be stored separately in a public database or the bank's database. The reason that we use biometrics is that we want a person to have only one identity on our system for track and detecting fraud. Next. Yeah, so ideally, when the two parties want to communicate, they can verify each other using the hash code. If there is a transaction request from a user, that person needs to do a fingerprint, face, or voice recognition for verification. Next, our competitors would be Teradata, Safe Science, Frizani, but our products provide an edge with various factors. Number one, because of the security nature of our system, we help enhance regulatory compliance. Edge two, not only is it secure, but it also enhances customer experience, therefore increase loyalty. With quick onboarding, finally, the blockchain database can also be helpful to the banks. Other problems, solve problems like their customer mortgage and human resource related things. And next, now regarding the cost, next up, regarding the cost, maintaining 1 GB of data in a blockchain system costs $100, which decrease quickly as the system scales up. Now, while every year cyber attacks cost about 18.5 million of their budget, the bank's budget on cybersecurity services, our service will be subscription based and pricing depending on the size.
Guys,
of the
that's time.
Next.
Judges?
Yeah, I have a question about your use of the blockchain and what the intention of using the blockchain is. It seems like some of the problems you're talking about resemble sort of some of the general problems associated with digital signatures, and might be solved otherwise by sort of public-private key infrastructure, and key distributions would be the problems there. So I'm just wondering, in relation to these sort of classic problems of identity, or why blockchain?
I would say blockchain is a secure network that can, at least for now, that you can't change information on the system as it goes by, and it locks itself into that. Every time a person logs in to their mobile application, they're locked while they're actually having a transaction removed from their account, really. So like it's like when they buy something, they only buy that one thing, and then the account is locked. There's nothing else that the hackers could do really within that time frame.
Are you trying to create a ledger of logged in and out activities of a user?
Yes, with the three signatures, their retina scan, their face scan, and their
voice scan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the
it's still
competitive
not clear to me. Why do you need? Yeah, why you need blockchain for this? It's not clear to me. Sorry, I second the concern.
I think Muhammad could answer that one for you guys much more better than me.
Yeah, using blockchain too will enable us achieve the self-sovereign identification, since it's possible to simply self-authenticate without the use of passwords, since identities are very clear through blockchain. A unique thing. Yeah.
Okay, thanks team. Judges, let's give you a few minutes.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Yes.
Can I start or?
We're just waiting on the judges just to finish off their submission. Okay, you can start.
Next. So as we speak at this very moment, hundreds to thousands of drugs are already being dumped into garbage cans and tossed away simply because they weren't used or utilized and simply because they're expired. Meanwhile, at the same time, simultaneously, we have patients sitting everywhere, unable to access legitimate treatment that they require, such as steroids, such as remdesivir, simply which was required during the COVID-19 pandemic. It was highlighted that we have severe inefficiencies in our supply chain and the way we forecast drug sales. And this is the problem we're outlining, and we have seen in many articles that this is a rampant problem. Next. The stakeholders that we currently have that are involved in this are the hospitals, the pharmacy stores, and the patients. Our mission is to serve the patients and ultimately deliver to them the most efficient resource allocation to make sure the treatments that they receive are available and not in oversupply or undersupply. And our consumers are going to be the hospitals and in the future pharmacy stores. Next. The current supply chain has hospitals who do situational analysis, which is current in time, where they do budgeting within that time period and figure out what drug they need at that moment and contact the suppliers and deliver it to the patients. We believe in 2020, such an inefficient, non-data driven method to predict and realize the demand for their drugs and their patients is not efficient. Next. The solution that iSupply provides next is artificially intelligent powered healthcare supply that uses cloud-based data points that we will collect from not only the hospital selling trends, but also from purchasing data from third parties, from clinics, and predicting the presence and the rise and trend of a specific disease, or build disease-specific models, and use that dynamic data to train recurrent neural networks with long short-term memory that will help us provide real-time analysis of forecasting future purchases for those drugs and give that feedback to the hospitals. And we believe this data in a cloud after being circulated will result in an improvement of the model over time in itself and build accurate models. Next. Our business model is to first start off with research trade agreements where we will collect data and use that to train our models, and then launch a beta phase where we will calibrate the model accuracy, fine-tune it according to each disease, initially starting with chronic illnesses and then commercially launch into hospitals and expand into pharmacies. The TAM that we calculated was 1.2 billion, which on the next slide will show how it's calculated. Next. Our answer to, and I know that some of the questions that come across are the privacy concerns and how the data that we collect will be received or achieved. We believe that according to state laws, our due diligence has shown geolocational data and records of product purchased are not a problem in purchasing. Next. Our team consists a lot of physicians and medical students and business analysts, and we believe we're the right ones to develop this further. Next. And our vision is to solve and reduce pharmaceutical pollution and resource allocation. Thank you.
Guys.
Yeah, well, I have a question. I mean, I'm not that expert in healthcare and the economics of it, but it would seem to me that the actual production of a pill actually is a very small marginal cost for some pharmaceutical company, right? And so, you know, at first I thought you were going to go where you had all this medicine that was sort of going to waste, and somehow you were going to coordinate that for people who could actually use the medicine, which is of course a very challenging problem in its own right. But I'm just wondering about the economics of your present idea about whether, how much it really matters to these large pharma companies that, you know, there's some pills that have, I would think, very little marginal cost of production sitting around.
That's an excellent question. And that's why we're not focusing on pharma. So pharma actually makes a lot of money through this method because they are not liable once a drug is sold, right? So the hospital is actually liable once a drug is on their shelf. It's on them that if it's expiring, it's expiring. So the loss is actually incurred to hospitals and the patients, and pharma. This is one of the loopholes, or not the loopholes. They actually have, I think, is a 2-week return back policy, and that is simply not enough for some hospitals to, you know, manage to return all those drugs that are being expired. In most often cases, that is not even offered, and these are simply thrown away, which concurs on average, I think, 200,000 to each hospital, and in total about around 900 million in the United States, over $1 billion in the United States alone for the hospital industry, the losses that they concur from the loss of these drugs.
I had looked into this problem several years ago, and I think an order of magnitude bigger market is the getting rid of medical waste in an environmentally safe manner. The waste that can contain bacteria and viruses and other contagious risks.
I think that is also a very valid point. We do hope to mitigate the loss and wastage of these drugs by using sales forecasting. We believe sales forecasting has come into retail. We know it has come into electronics. You know, Apple and other companies are using AI and machine learning models to predict accurately their sales numbers. We believe drugs deserve just as much, because disease, at the end of the day, if we can, you know, predict how much of, you know, multiple sclerosis we're going to see next year, how much of diabetes we're going to see next year, you know, and based upon data that is actually available sometimes even publicly, and sometimes it's very easy to, not easy, of course, we understand delivery hurdles, but we believe that it should come into drug sales forecasting and preventing and improving inventory management in these pharmacies and hospitals.
And also to add, like forecasting, if anywhere, it should come to the pharma industry because it actually saves lives.
Well, thanks, guys. Good presentation. I'll give you a few minutes, judges.
Yep. In the meantime, Team 8, ISOLX, if the speakers can get ready, that'd be amazing.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. I guess it's quite a weekend, especially if you live in the US. I guess my name is Da, and my teammates are Ritu and the GPT are also here. My team's name and our product is called the iSoil-X. Next, please. I guess according to the Food and Agricultural Organization, we are not on track to eradicating hunger by 2030. In the developing parts of the world, this is more likely to be a productivity issue. Due to the lack of knowledge about the soil, the farmers face low productivity, and applying the wrong fertilizers or wrong amount of fertilizers could also lead to profit loss. Our value proposition is to use classification and quantification models of the soil images to inform the farmers about the soil quality and advise them about the courses of action such that they could be more productive with their existing farmland. Next. As you can see on this slide, one could take a picture of the cross-section of the Earth, then send the samples to testing labs such that we can have label data for model training. Next. And after we have trained the model, we can classify the layers of the soils and inform the farmers about the quality of the soil. Next. And for accessibility, the product will be supported in both Android and iOS. It would natively be a web app, and also with a chatbot integrated. If the end user doesn't have a smartphone, they could still send a multimedia message or upload the image through a web portal to our server. Next. And here's a provisional design of the backend. The model will be loaded on SageMaker, and the images from the farmers will be sent to it, then processed. The response to the farmers can be instantaneous. At the same time, we also aggregate the images and the geopositions of the data for further model training and map out the soil qualities across the regions and inform the governments or NGOs for inform the governments or NGOs for their interests. Next. I guess our product also try to monitor the
Hey guys,
soils.
sorry, that's time, guys.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Judges.
If you could go to the next slide.
How do you plan to train the model? Where are you going to get the data from to train the model?
I guess that's part of our business model. We promise the future access for the what the farmers are doing right now is they take the soil to testing labs and have them tested, and what we propose is to eventually just take a picture of the soil and we could tell them what they want to know from the testing labs. And right now we want the farmers to take the pictures before they send the soil to the testing labs, so we could have the label data.
So where are you getting the label data? That's what I'm trying to understand. Are you getting it
Yes. So
from
after they
the
have
lab?
after they get the report from the testing labs, we have the data labeled.
So I
like
thought, sorry, go ahead. Oh, okay.
yeah, tell.
Oh yeah, okay. My question was, I would have thought that for this kind of a thing, you would need multispectral images rather than just optical images. So is there some precedent for doing this with just optical images from smartphones?
Yes, we do have one paper, but it is a bit more comprehensive than a simple optical image. But that's the aim, that we only use one image.
So that's a technical risk.
Yeah, I think if there is any way to convert the optical image into the multimedia image, that can work for, like, we can add that feature in cloud. So when farmer take the picture, then it will convert into the multi spectrum image. So for the analyze by the model.
Well, I would think that depends on the camera itself and whether what its range is, what its frequency range is. But anyway, yeah.
Yes, that is a very good technical question. But what we aim to do is to help the farmers on day one, while they gradually adapt to more sophisticated technologies. So that's why we are focusing on just the optical images.
Great.
How many
Thanks,
key
guys.
metrics?
Oh, sorry.
Do we have time for a question?
Yeah, one more question.
How many key metrics you can extract from an RGB image?
For the feature extraction, we can collect the color of the soil, because the soil color matters, like if it dark or and also the pattern of the soil, like it's granular or some like sand like soil. That kind of features we can extract, as well as like if there is any existence of the water, or the we can measure the humidity or humidity. I think this kind of features we can extract from the image. And for the we need to manually leveling the data with the testing from the labs with images taken from the ground. So by that way we can analyze the soil image and get the result.
Great. Thanks, team. I'll give you a few minutes, judges.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, we can hear you.
Okay. Can I start?
Just a few more seconds. Okay. Yep, you're ready to go.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We are Team Sixth Sense, a partner to the healthcare providers. We need to, next slide. Hello. We need to improve access to mental health care facilities because the treatment gap is as high as 80% between low income and high income countries. And due to COVID, there has been a rise of 25% in mental health cases. So WHO has recently come up with an initiative called MHGAP to train primary healthcare workers to detect and manage mental health disorders. Next. Next. The key user personas are a doctor and a patient from rural areas. Next. Our solution aligns with the WHO initiative of furthering a seamless implementation of this service. And our key features are AI-based detection, collaborative and personalized care, and bridging the supply-demand gap in healthcare facilities due to COVID. Next. Next. So this is our app workflow. Next. Once the disease is detected, the user is given with two options of online or offline care. Next. Our key value proposition is using AI-based technology to primary healthcare workers for diagnosing mental health conditions for individuals in rural areas. The important stakeholders here are healthcare workers in remote areas, psychologists and psychiatrists, and the patients. And with Sixth Sense, we want to bridge the gap between all the stakeholders. Next. Our app flow begins with a questionnaire adhering to the MSH5 guidelines. Then the facial and voice detection model is data is fed into the deep learning model, and then the disease is detected. And then the user is given with option of online or offline services. We are ensuring the data protection and threat monitoring by deploying the model on AWS. Next. Our revenue model is a B2B subscription model in a tiered manner for the different kinds of users. Next. We have also done the SWOT analysis, and our biggest opportunity is that global mental health application market is anticipated to reach almost $4,000 million by 2027. And the biggest threat is people might be skeptical about the novel tech that we are using. And this can be solved by traction from well-known organizations like the WHO. Next. As you can see, the other players in the market, Sixth Sense has has integrated all the features. Okay.
Sorry, guys, that's time.
Can I take? I'm at the end. Okay.
You can show the slides, but that's it. About it.
Yeah. The next slide.
So your target users, do they have active problem recognition and they are seeking medical advice regarding their mental condition, or they are even not aware of the fact that they have some kind of a condition?
Considering we are mostly focusing on rural areas and remote areas, the people don't have enough awareness, which is why we thought the expertise that the primary healthcare workers will get will help them in raising awareness and also helping them with the disease detection.
Again, I think the issue here is similar to some of the other folks have also had, like how will you make people aware that they even need this? Most of the mental health challenges, really from a point of view, just don't even know I have mental health issues. How do I even know to open up an app to do this. Another one really is that how are you going to collect the initial data to train your deep learning models? That's you haven't had, and that how will that happen?
So like I said earlier, the awareness part, we are mostly relying on the primary healthcare workers, and for the data there is ongoing research, and we hope to partner with universities and other organizations for the data to train the models.
Did you say where you're thinking of launching or focusing for this?
Ma'am, considering
rural,
most of the team is from India, we hope to launch it initially in India, and then maybe go global.
So then if it's rural, then can you talk about smartphone? Is it going to be, it would require a smartphone probably, correct?
Yeah, it would require either a smartphone or just it can just be a web app. Initially, we thought smartphone would be easier for us to implement, but then we can also extend it to a web app. And most of the hospitals would have access to a computer and internet connection.
So how about
Because
would the patient?
because a
Yeah, my teammate would take the question.
Sorry.
So a direct user is the healthcare professional who is there in the hospital. So he or she will be having access to the computers or the web app, so they can help the patients.
You have time for one more question if you have any, judges.
Yeah, is there any particular reason or area where you can sort of demonstrate why you need these kinds of sophisticated algorithms for the kinds of things that you want to diagnose? I'm just looking for some justification for why that's a core part of your offering.
So when we talk about
currently, sorry, please go ahead.
So when we talk about the rural areas in most of the third world countries, for the primary healthcare workers are only not equipped to help with the mental health diagnosis and the treatment. Like they do not have that kind of awareness. So it becomes very difficult for them due to the lack of personnel and the professionals to diagnose the treatment. That is why the WHO has been trying to deploy this model of specific guidelines which the primary healthcare workers can learn and then try to implement. But this AI model will only make it easier for them and solve a lot of problems. So it will just help in the cause of what is already going on and the initiative that is already being carried out, and make it much simpler and easier for everyone.
Great, thanks guys. Judges, I'll give you a few minutes to fill in the sheets.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get started.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Shall I start?
Your voice is a bit low.
It's a bit
volume.
Hello, is it better now?
Still, it's hard to hear.
Hello, now?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So hello all, with Team Zioko. Myself Dhruva, I'm a sophomore at MIT Manipal, and my teammate, one teammate is from Nigeria, another guy is from MIT Manipal. He's my senior. Okay. So Zioko stands for Zero CO2, a cool app for a hot planet. Next. Next. So all of us have actually seen two images which are really popular. One taken from Apollo in 1968 and one taken recently. So in the gap of 51 years, we've actually seen so much of difference. The world has changed so much. The global warming has been increasing exponentially every year. Next. So what really motivates us? Me and my friends had developed an app. So we are actually from a city called Mumbai, which is a really big city, and there are millions of people here. So what we actually thought was, being a sophomores, we couldn't really have a big impact on the pollution and global warming around. So we thought of making an app which can actually reduce the carbon footprint index in the city. Next. So what it actually does. So what we do is, we actually reduce the carbon footprint index. So in a very interactive way. Next, the silent features. So the silent features include Google Fit API to encourage the user to walk rather than take motor vehicle. So we've actually used algorithms like a random forest regressor, linear regression, collaborative filtering, and recommender systems. So we've actually integrated restaurants with our app, where you can actually see the carbon footprint index of the menu. Next. So how we actually built it? Zioku sits on top of Flutter framework, and we have actually added lots of API. For example, Google Fit Kit, Google Maps, and we have used Google News. So next. Challenges we ran into. So we had prior experience in coding frontend for this. So backend really took a lot of time, and we have actually the integrating APIs with the backend was really challenging task for us. It took a lot of time to do this. Next. Accomplishment we are really proud of. We have a functional app right now, which integrated along with the restaurants. So we are still working on putting in all the carbon indexes of foods. So we have got a few data sets already, and we're still working on it. Next. Okay, so this is the front end part. We've actually added a few codes in this. So the codes have been attached in the end. Next. This is the backend code. So we've actually imported from Flask, and we have entire coding ready for now. Next. Yeah, this is the Zioku. The first image on the left is basically how it looks when you sign in. The image on the right is basically we have API call, which basically gives the global news related to climate change. Next.
Hey, sorry, we're at 3 minutes now.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, this is the code actually. Yeah.
So your app will help people reduce their individual carbon footprint?
Yep, we actually do that.
Okay. So maybe one way to improve that is add some kind of gamification as well, so they can compare their performance with.
Actually, we have done that as well. I was about to explain that. We have actually connected Facebook to it. So in that way, see, there's a leaderboard option there, and then people can actually compete with each other to basically show that actually I've reduced this much of carbon footprint.
Okay, thank you.
And all of this is actually functional. You can actually go and check it out in the link.
Thanks.
Okay.
Maybe include the link to your app in the chat. We didn't see any visuals until later into your presentation, so it was a little bit.
Okay, I could actually explain that now. Yeah, my teammate had actually made a presentation, and he actually he was offline the whole day. So actually, I made up my own in the last half an hour. So it's not the actual PPT. I'll be sharing the link to the code in the chat section. So you'll have to download the app directly. I'll be adding the APK right there. Okay.
How do you acquire customers? What's your strategy?
Oh, to acquire customers. Right now, we actually didn't start promoting it now. So acquiring customers won't be really hard because we have so many features. Like even restaurants, and we actually have features. We also have something called to-do list where you can add your to-do details, and you will be notified as well. And the restaurant thing is really attractive. You just go there and we're actually filling the menu according to Indian food now. And we also have data sets. The first one is actually says like we have got a few data sets which is not Indian. So now we're targeting Indian market. So we are calculating. I mean, we are trying to figure it out by ourselves now by contacting a few research people. The restaurant feature is like really going to attract people, at least in India here.
We have time for one last question.
Does your app currently work on iOS or only Android?
It currently it works in Android itself, but since it's Flutter, we'll be integrating into iOS as well. It won't take a lot of. We made it for Android right now. Yeah, I haven't included the app in the chat box.
Thank
you. Click on API and download it. I mean, sorry, APK and download it.
Perfect. Thank you. I'll give you a few minutes, judges.
Thank you.
Our team could get ready.
Yeah. Okay, am I audible?
Yep, you're on.
Okay. So can I start?
Not
okay.
Yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. Hello, everyone. We are Team StoragePile.ai, bringing our technology to warehouse management. Next slide. During a crisis situation, one of the biggest challenges faced by FMCG companies in India is managing stock inventory level to avoid going out of stock and not satisfying the demand. At the same time, overstocking can lead to high storage costs, which can reduce the revenue by up to 34%. Next slide. Here you can see some of the real problems we want to solve. Next slide. StoragePile helps large FMCG companies to maintain an optimal inventory level to meet a demand and reduce inventory costs by up to 40% by providing price optimization for future demand. Compared to other inventory management systems, we are not forecasting the future, but rather nowcasting the present and near future, especially crisis situations, utilizing publicly available data. Next slide. Here you can see some of the solutions we want to provide for now. Next slide. Here you can see about a product overview we are currently going to provide. Next slide. Here you can see an overview of the interface we have designed so far to illustrate the working of our AI and ML model. Next slide. You can see another tab of the function that we want to give. In the next slide, here we see that the data from different public data sources taken as an input for a model. The model does the nowcasting and solves the problem of an optimal pricing using a deep reinforcement learning model. Next slide. We are also providing an omni-channel platform to communicate the insights of different parts of the supply chain. Next slide. We believe that this is the high time to launch this product in the market because in this pandemic like COVID-19, establishing a good understanding of the impact on supply chains and contingency plans can help manufacturing companies deal with uncertainties in the right way. Launching StoragePile.ai can drastically add about 10% to the whole 40% predicted growth of revenue by saving 3% of the revenue, which is lost in warehouse and inventory management. Next slide. So here you can see a predicted downgrade in the FMCG market by 2025. Next slide. So what is the target market and stakeholders? The warehouses having inventory of FMCG products and the FMCG companies who are managing and marketing the products. And next slide. So the total available market is 320 to 350K warehouses in India, out of which serviceable available market is 230 to 240K, and 180 to 210K of warehouses are expected to be serviceable obtainable market. Next slide. We found that Martelio, Easy Ecom, Cogito, EasyC provide services similar to us up to some extent, also looking over the indirect customer, StockStream, Vantage Point, system does smart accounting and sales channel integration. Next slide. We are going to show here some of the competitive advantage over our competitors. Next slide. So our business revenue model, StoragePile will charge an annual fee depending of about $8 per GB of data processed, and we will be having 25% of profit gain from the storage cost reduction annually. Next slide. You can see the future roadmap of what are the next steps and goals we are going to take after this event to make this idea going to happen. Next slide. Meet our diverse team with expertise from business management, research experts, data engineers, and UI UX design expert. Thank you. So that's all about StoragePile.ai.
Thanks, guys. Judges?
So are you thinking about all fast moving goods or any specific things? Are you focusing?
So
what's
just
your
we
initial
mentioned,
focus?
like, we want to go with FMCG products, the fast moving consumer goods that are like currently sold quickly and relatively have a low cost in the market. Due to this COVID crisis, what happened is these products are like relatively went disbalanced over the stock management system. And then they have to face a little like 34% of the contracts till 2025. So we are currently targeting FMCG products only.
Okay, so I would like to add more on that. So what we are targeting is like products that go out of stock very easily, like detergent. So that was a real problem during the COVID crisis. Also, like there are like sanitary pads. Also, there are FMCG manufacturers manufacturing like daily need products.
Yeah,
So
something like beverages, toilets, candies, cosmetics, over-the-counter drugs, dry goods, anything like which are consumables.
So in order to train your system and improve its prediction and detection performance, you need a balanced data set, right? And COVID and the pandemic is just an outlier case. So how do you create that balanced data set?
okay, so I would like to answer that. So we are not forecasting anything. So what we are bringing is nowcasting. So let me explain what is nowcasting. Nowcasting is a term from economics. So economists use it very often. So it is used by large banks like central banks. It is used by large financial institutions to gain a present estimate of a certain economic indicator. So we are not forecasting. So we collect data from various sources. It may be structured or unstructured. Just we mentioned in the slide, it is like a global factors. Global factors can be like a GDP, like a SP 500 index. It can be anything that's affecting the industry in the global setting. There are also regional factors like agro products can be affected by weathers. So we are also having the weather data, like our monsoon might affect the agricultural products. So we'll have the weather data. And at a company level, we'll have their sales data, their customer sentiments data, or maybe they have some their own survey data. So we'll include those.
The biggest vulnerability of nowcasting is the fact that demand rate is not necessarily equal to the consumption rate, right? If I'm suddenly increasing my purchase of toilet tissue 3 times this week, it doesn't indicate that my demand will be the same next week and the week after, right? It's spiky. So we need to decouple the demand rate from consumption rate. And if you are not able to measure the consumption rate, your nowcasting will have a huge vulnerability.
Nowcasting is just a part. It would be used further by our deep reinforcement learning model. Since we are optimizing the price, that is a problem of control theory. So we are optimally controlling something. So that's why we thought to use reinforcement learning model. So that will be a perfect setting for optimizing the price, and that price will determine the demand and supply. Yeah, that's the answer for that.
Great. Thank you, guys. Give you a few minutes, judges, before we wrap this up. Okay, Sean, you want to start wrapping this up?
Chris, are there any more? This was the last one.
This is it. Yeah. Oh, you can't. Okay. I wasn't sure if it was only you. Sean, I can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Hear me?
Yeah.
Do you hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
Perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to wrap up by saying these past couple of days was super inspiring and motivating for all of us, seeing the joint effort of all the organizers, the participants, judges, and mentors from all around the world. You know, we all know that y'all might be a little sleep deprived right now, but we hope it was an awakening moment for you all and hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. Thank you. And at 6:30 EST, we'll be having our award ceremony. So don't miss out and hope to see you all there. And before we all leave, it'd be great if we could all just turn the cameras on and take a quick selfie. So whenever everyone's ready. We'll give it 10 more seconds for everyone. Perfect, there you go. 3. Oh, let's have another one. Funny face. Feel free to post however you want.
Good job, everyone.
Last one. Perfect. Thank you all. We got that. Appreciate it.
Everyone.
Sorry, but my camera just turned on. My camera took long to turn on.
I think we can hop off this, Sean. Hey.